In the leaders' debate last night, and today, on a visit to our region, he was back in the media spotlight.
Our political correspondent, Matthew Hudson, was among the crowd who turned out to see the man of the moment.
And on a day where I think if anyone needed to...
The leader of a team looking to take a big step up in the shadow of a team that's just won promotion. The Nick Clegg Lib Dem bandwagon rolled into Norwich, ramming home his message to supporters in a supermarket car park. There are now 3 teams in this enthralling election battle.
We're going for broke. I mean, I think anything is possible in this general election. That is what is so exciting. If you'd predicted a week ago that we could have, had all 3 parties roughly around the same place in the opinion polls, people would have said, oh, absolute nonsense. I think anything can happen when people start believing in real change, and people are now starting to believe in real change.
Fresh from last night's TV debate, Mr Clegg was cheered by the crowd, mobbed by the media. Election visits by Lib Dem leaders didn't used to be like this. There were far fewer fans around just 2 weeks ago when Mr Clegg visited Northampton. Elsewhere in our region, the Conservatives' community cohesion spokesman, Baroness Wasi, was in the Bury Park area of Luton. A previous visit here saw her hit by an egg, but there was no repetition this time. Meanwhile, back in that Norwich supermarket, Mr Clegg was still surrounded. His opponents think he doesn't know his place, but the scenes at the fish counter told a different story. Matthew Hudson, Anglia News, Norwich.
Well, there's more news from your part of the region on the way.
And Amanda will have the fabulous, we hope, weekend weather forecast. Hundreds of mourners gathered today to pay tribute to a soldier from Suffolk killed by a grenade in Afghanistan on the final patrol of his tour of duty.
Lance Corporal of Horse Jonathan Woodgate, who was 26 and a member of the Household Cavalry, was remembered during the service near his home in Lavenham.
His army colleagues described him as a legend, more of a man than any of them could hope to be. Malcolm Robertson has more.
To his family and friends, he was known simply as Joe. This afternoon, on St George's Day, the Household Cavalry and those in and around his hometown of Lavenham turned out in their hundreds to honour Joe, a man who left an indelible mark on all who knew him. 4 weeks ago today, Lance Corporal of Horse Jonathan Woodgate was killed by a grenade in Afghanistan just minutes before his 4th and final tour of duty.
It was just tragic that he was killed so close to the end, and so cruel for his family and for his fellow colleagues in the Brigade Recce Force.
Today Lavenham was bathed in sadness. The irony of several celebrations at the moment of troops coming home, not lost on those who lined the streets of this Suffolk town. The church full to overflowing and the service relayed to those outside, a friend spoke of the final text he'd received.
The other message from Joe is particularly poignant. It simply reads, "Cheers guys, see you in April, !"
There were occasional bursts of applause as those who knew him spoke of the joy he'd brought to their lives. Listening to friends and colleagues, you got the impression that Jonathan Woodgate was a man who had it all. He was an outstanding soldier. He'd put other people's lives in front of his own. He was charismatic, he was witty, he was very good looking. He was also very stylish in his dress. And one said he was the guy you would always want in your troop. It was a largely traditional service, but there was a slightly surreal finale. Jonathan Woodgate's coffin was carried from the church to the strains of AC/DC's Thunderstruck, underlining the rock legend status his mates had given him. They said he packed a huge amount into his 26 years, but they also knew there was a lot more he wanted to achieve. His family said he'd always be remembered for his smile. Malcolm Robertson, Anglia News, Lavenham.
An elderly woman's died in a house fire in Norfolk. A fire broke out at a bungalow in Rectory Road in Burton near Diss just before 8 o'clock last night. Police say the death is unexplained but not suspicious.
Behaviour in our secondary schools is getting better, that's according to figures from the government. An Ofsted report shows over 3/4 of schools in our region have good or outstanding behaviour. That's a slight rise on previous years. However, the figures also show that behaviour in 1 in 5 schools here is rated as just satisfactory, with some still inadequate.
More than 1,000 children from Essex have attended a roadshow to discourage bullying, substance misuse and knife crime. The Too Smart roadshow, held at Chelmsford Sports and Athletics Centre, is now in its 14th year. It tours different locations around Essex and uses dance, music, comedy and theatre to get the message across.
The whole message of Too Smart is that you don't have to follow the crowd. You don't have to just go along with the flow and get involved in crime, antisocial behaviour.
Right, so some sport now, and there are just 3 weekends left of the regular Football League season.
Norwich bid for the League One title, and the fate of our Essex rivals could be decided tomorrow.
Meanwhile, there's been an anniversary at Ipswich. Jonathan Blake has our Friday preview.
Has it really been a year since this? Roy Keane's arrival at Ipswich last April promised much. He wanted to achieve promotion in a season. That hasn't happened, but it's taken him a season to establish what's needed to fulfil his and Ipswich's ambition, and to emulate tomorrow's opponents, Newcastle. They're heading back to the Premier League as champions.
I'm hoping to have quite a busy summer in terms of trying to get some experienced players into our group. Again, I've just mentioned, you've seen that with the teams like Newcastle. You need that experience, I think, to get out of the Championship.
A season of unfulfilled promise is drawing closer for Peterborough. Their home campaign ends tomorrow against Blackpool. Norwich will cap their promotion campaign with the League One title if they draw with Gillingham, but manager Paul Lambert has to watch from the stands after being hit with a touchline ban.
It doesn't really, that won't matter at all, because the lads play the game and hopefully we can win. But I just have to, as I said, take the pill, swallow it and go on it.
Colchester's hopes of joining Norwich in the Championship via the playoffs will stay alive if they beat Tranmere tomorrow. They have Anthony Wordsworth back from suspension. But the two clubs face each other on Monday at a Football League tribunal following Paul Lambert's move to Carrow Road in August. Finally, Southend may have won their battle with Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs, but if they lose at Oldham tomorrow, they'll be relegated to League Two, 5 years after winning promotion from it. Donovan Blake, Anglia News.
Let's head to the summer sport now. A reality check for Essex cricketers in Division 1 of the County Championship as they crashed to a heavy defeat today, I'm afraid. They were no match for Lancashire at Chelmsford. The visitors needed just 38 runs to win by 8 wickets, with a day to spare, in fact. Earlier, Alistair Cook scored 50 as Essex struggled to 173 all out in their second innings.